We know you're Simon Campbell, but where and how, we don't know. This is a little bit of who, what, when, and where, not much about how or why. In Washington, D.C., and I'm about to leave the courtyard from the bunker. Is my want, and going to get a little bit of primary documentation reported for posterity. It's hoped that a lot of this will survive long term, but with the digital world, I don't know. I think that platforms die. Substack hopefully will live on a long time. It really depends on us as its subscribers to keep it alive. A newsletter platform, it's generated many different aspects, blended technology. One of the more exciting things happening is a fire truck, ambulance, Medic One, heading probably to Washington Hospital Center, maybe with somebody on board, considering its direction, or it's going to pick somebody up. One of the two, quite loud, overwhelming my sensors, but it does give you an idea of the sirens of DC. You see the tree lit across the street. There's a lot of people exiting the scene these days. A lot of our artists are growing old and passing away. Jimmy Cliff a couple of days ago. You can keep up with that. Obituaries. It's always a good idea to reflect on the lives that have been led and the impacts they've made and keep the spirit alive. A lot of that is what Harrowings is about. Harrowings here. Hi, Paul K. And hi, Brenda. A voice that wonders. Point of Harrowings at the beginning was really to dig into my father's legacy. He passed away April 7th, 2024. I got my Substack account going on my birthday of 2024, and I hadn't used it, but once I got free of wage slavery, as I like to say, my last contract threw me off. Surprisingly, because it was the 1 year anniversary of me saving it for the prime. But be that as it may, we have a situation where we get an opportunity, right? Get an opportunity to be the change we want to see in the world. And my father's legacy as a historian seemed to need to be preserved and protected and collected, curated. And I've begun to do that. I got a lot out. I have to give myself credit for that. And then I sort of wandered into harrowing my own soul and looking at what I am as a creative output of both him and my grandfather and all of history. And we all are that. We all are descendants of so many who made sacrifices for us to be here or simply took actions that led to us being here. They might not have sacrificed much, We don't choose our parents. We're cast into this world. And by dint of that, we are the recipients of a real miracle because most people will never be born. As Richard Dawkins pointed out some time ago, he said, we're all going to die and we're the lucky ones because most people are never going to be born. So we have an opportunity here and now to be the change we want to see in the world, to be agents, change, and all of us are, whether we mean to be or not. But if we're mindful of it, if we're aware, if we're awake, we can reshape the world in a positive direction and in a direction, right? There's the law of unintended consequences. An awful lot of choices that have been made have had impacts, yes, measurable impacts. I only hope we measure what matters. I'm sure that you know that any business doesn't keep a good inventory and good records quickly goes out of business. And, or it just putters along generating losses. That's kind of what's happening now. I have a new member of the board of directors, for which I'm very grateful. He decided he would pony up a paid subscription. And that's how we do it on Substack, right? One writer supporting another, one reader supporting another, and we keep on going. Hello, Brenda, a voice that wonders. Who are you? Where are you? How are you? Those are the questions I want to put forward to all who happen to wander and wonder, and I wonder, and that's what we do here. So I'm glad you're on. Passing show, just a little bit of who, what, when, and where. Primary documentation for historians of the future. Every cent spent is a vote for the kind of world we are co-creating. That's one thing we can do. Another thing we can do is volunteer our time to each other. The work I am doing largely has to do with that, volunteering my perspectives. I could be wrong. I know that I know only little. I'm constantly monitoring and thinking about awareness and being awake, conscious in this world to what's happening, what businesses are around me, what vehicles are moving past, what peoples are walking by. What is their story? What is your story? Let's tell each other stories. Did a little writing last night. I got it in my head that the great books should be charted against a matrix between Melville and Pynchon. Herman Melville, the author of Moby Dick, Thomas Pynchon, the author of Mason Dixon and Gravity's Rainbow, among many others. And I think they picked those novels really to tune Pynchon, and they picked this other one to Moby Dick of Melville for the other axis. Sort of a cosmic metaphysical journey versus a paranoid systems analysis. And how do the great books of the Western canon put out by Britannica has a huge set of books really chart against that? Everything from Homer through to Freud are among those great books. And it was interesting. And then I had a novella, to write about that, and sort of a sci-fi kind of thing. And set in a node in the futuristic Library of Alexandria, where a artificial intelligence nicknamed Ishmael 7, Ish for short, talks with a librarian named Mara, who starts to manage this dashboard. And the world authority decides to try to chart everything happening, all the data in the world, against this particular matrix. They had a third axis to it, make a three-dimensional chart, really charting anarchy. And, the idea is you can't manage what you can't see. An old motto of mine. So I hope you'll take a look at my little map at the end of the world novella. Give me some feedback. It was a nice little piece of creative writing, and I am really kind of proud of it. As it stands, I want to sort of crack it open, do some more work on it. Maybe I'll do that this morning here at Daily Provisions. Looks like Josh is on staff and others. Seems to be permanently located down here. He's from Manhattan. And we'll see if we can keep this place alive. So I don't have a lot more to say at this moment, but I'm glad you all are with me. Passing show goes on. You're traveling in France currently, riding on the road. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'll read you. Mateo Morales fan. Thank you for joining. How are you is so interesting, but we'll get back to our conversations later. I'm going to have a couple of live Substack podcast episodes of Air Wings podcast. We've got Jenny Oang. I hope I pronounced her name right. Oyang. I can't really pronounce it well, but she's from Wuhan and she's living in the States and she's doing a lot of AI building and really interesting woman. So I'm fascinated by her work and she's doing a lot raising kids, here in the States. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to have a conversation with someone from a different culture who's on the forefront of the moving and shaking on AI. And then at 2 o'clock, I'm going to be Harriet's guest on her women's perspectives, which is not mine. But I tell you what, I feel honored that she asked if I'd sit in place of someone who can't make it. And so it goes. It's 8:01. So I'm going to wrap it up here. And I hope you have a great time in France. And I hope you guys get better weather than we have here in DC today. It's not cold, but it's definitely cloudy, kind of threatening rain. And yeah, a little gloomy. But Lynn's working from home today. I'll be working from the bunker and having a lot of fun, I hope. I hope everybody out there is having fun. I hope you're being the change you want to see in the world. And do remember every cent spent is a vote for the kind of world we are co creating. Out here.